You're listening to the Spark Radio Network. Radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
For writers and public personalities, it's becoming increasingly important to have an online presence. This normally takes the form of a website and social media. However, things like a cluttered site or broken links can scare potential readers away. It's time to get a health check. Until the 30th of June, Black Wolf Editorial Services is offering a special website health check package. Get a new bio for your site. Have the site navigation and general layout assessed. Get a review of your Twitter activities. Get an objective opinion about your public Facebook page. Find out what works well and what could potentially scare your readers away. And all this for $35. At the end of the day, the face we put online will be the one that most people will see. Let us help you put your best foot forward. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For full details and a list of other services, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, good evening, folks. It is Thursday, June 9th, July 9th. I'm trying to get us past Independence Day already. June 9th, 2016. We are live. This is the Jen and Rick Show. I'm one half of the crew, Rick. She's the other half, Jen. And can I just say, there's a little opening segment right there at the end where the guy's singing, I'm not ready to back down, I'm not ready to end the fight. Can I say, after what's been going on Twitter today, I'm pretty much ready to back down in the fight and just say F it all.
Oh, it got fun out there today, and not just with trolls.
It's been crazy. All right, so it's been a couple of days since we've been together. You guys listen to me rant and rave all the time, so I'm going to let Jen take the first part of this. We decided we were going to start with the fun stuff, so this is the day that basically the dumpster fire became a flame war. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, because it's kind of, this is just, can I just say, this is why we can't have nice things. That's kind of my take on Twitter today.
Pretty much. So, for anybody that's been living under a rock, Trump tweeted today about Obama endorsing Hillary. Just said, Obama just endorsed crooked Hillary. He wants 4 more years of Obama, but nobody else does. Who was running her account at the time, quote tweeted it and said, delete your account, which I personally laughed out loud at first, because isn't that kind of what we all want? And I know that his PR people wish he would delete his Twitter, or at least stay off of it. But yeah, and then, he responds, of course, he can't help it. And it was something about, I don't have it right here, but it was something about which one of your
how long did it take you and your 896 staff members come up with that little gem or something like that? I don't remember. It's not.
It was all of your 800 staffers. How long did it take y'all to come up? And then also what happened to the 33,000 emails you deleted? So that was pretty funny to see them going back and forth. And incidentally, for Clinton, that was the most tweeted, retweeted tweet of hers of the entire campaign. And right before we were coming on air, it had over 316,000 retweets, the delete your account tweet. But there are some other people piping in too that I thought was kind of funny. Priebus piped in and was like, you shouldn't be talking about deleting. And he's so right, actually. And I don't say he's right very often, but one of the things that was short-sighted about that tweet was, obviously she's deleted a bunch of stuff and is part of the extension of her, FBI investigation over her email server. So probably not the best thing for her account to be saying. But Anthony Weiner also chimed in, and I thought that this was really kind of funny. And, he's kind of made a thing out of making fun of himself now that, he's no longer an elected public figure for very good reason. But so he quote tweeted her and he said, too late for some of us. And I died laughing. So I bet he wished he deleted his account before he went showing his pee-pee to the whole world.
Yeah. So the first thing I thought of, honestly, when I saw Hillary Clinton start talking about, you should delete your account, and this is only because I had kids around that time frame. There was a cartoon show back in the 90s called Jimmy Neutron. There was these little guys called the Nanobots, and they spent a whole episode running around randomly deleting everything. And every time they had a chance to do it, they were running around this little microchip shit, but it was hitting a button, and they were all delete, 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 delete. And that's the first thing I thought of when I heard her saying that she should be deleting her account, because I can just, or his account, because I can just imagine her sitting there with the button on the emails going delete, 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 and she's all telling him he needs to delete his account. I mean, first of all, they both need to delete their accounts. Can we just be completely honest? We need to delete they need to delete their accounts, and we need to delete this entire election cycle and start over and find the adults. I mean, this is literally why we cannot have nice things in America anymore. Can you imagine the laughingstock in the rest of the world that we are right now? They're watching the two front runners for POTUS having a flame war on freaking Twitter. What the hell, are they 5th graders now? I mean, that's honestly even an insult to the intelligence level of 5th graders to watch these two having a frickin' flame war on Twitter. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it really was very very like grade school level of like back and forth of, again, two presidential candidates. I mean, I do find it entertaining. I think it's kind of funny, but wow, look at what this election has brought us to. I mean, it's ridiculous. I wish we could delete these candidates and go forward from there.
It just amazes me because I kept waiting for the your mama jokes or the I'm rubber, you're glue, what bounces off me sticks to you. I mean, one of those two things was bound to happen. And at some point during this flame war, because it's going to continue, because once Donald Trump gets started, he never knows how to shut up. So it is going to happen. And at some point, it's gonna be schoolyard playground antics, and we're all gonna be looking around at each other going, who the hell decided we needed to vote for either one of these two jabronis? Which is where a lot of us are now, but And
I'll be interested to see where, Hillary's Twitter kind of goes from here. She has typically been fairly, I guess, like kind of a fairly cautious tweeter. I don't know how many levels of approval that people have to go through before they post something to her account, but it seems like she very often does not respond publicly to tweets against her, or not very often anyways. Now, she definitely has them respond to positive things, but negatively not so much. And I guess just with the recent solidification of her nomination and also Trump's, that brought a little different side. Or is maybe that person who actually tweeted that no longer with the campaign? I mean, it could be either way. But they did leave it. They did let it stand. They didn't delete it or anything. So we'll see. Maybe she's gonna. Does Trump get everyone? Is he gonna be able to get every single person that he in any way goes against to come to his level and start this name calling and mudslinging war? Because if he can get Hillary down in those trenches, this election is just really going to be mind blowing.
Dude, it's already mind-blowing. I mean...
Well, I mean, more so, but I mean, in the general will be even more than what we've even seen in the primaries. It's just crazy.
Well, no, I know what you meant. I'm just saying, I really never thought in my lifetime that we would see people running for president of the United States having a freaking flame war on Twitter. I mean, look, it's one thing when you're in the primary process and you're taking shots at each other and you're the same side of the argument, trying to use Twitter and social media to be like, hey, this guy's an idiot and you should vote for me, whatever. But to see that now that we basically at this point are stuck with Dumb and Dumber, to see them going back and forth with each other on social media of all places, I'm just done. I don't know where we go from here because it cannot get any worse than it is right now. I mean, literally, I can't see any way that any future election cycles could be any worse than this one. I mean, I literally feel like it's one of those things where I saw this, or my son was telling me about this thing he saw on Facebook the other day. It was like, voting for Donald Trump can't be that bad. 4 years later, voting for him again can't really be that bad. He didn't do too bad. 12 years down the line, which district are you voting for today?
Right.
I really feel like we're watching the beginnings of what could be our own weird parallel to the Hunger Games. I mean, because look at just the way that even the presidential candidates are treating one another. There used to be at least a modicum of civility. And I know there have been bad elections, and I know that this whole thing has always been there and under the surface. I mean, I remember the elections from the 1800s and 1900s when they would burn dolls of their opponents in effigy and things like that. But it just seems like this takes it to a whole new level of just stupid. I don't know.
Well,
maybe it's just me.
I think the point there is the stupidity of it and that whole aspect. There were some really, really nasty elections, like you were mentioning before, especially in the 19th century. And but we came back, but still different, though. It was those things kind of happened on the campaign trail. There were some pamphlets written, things like that. I don't know that it quite compares to like Twitter and the outright name calling and the like rah-rahing at rallies about stuff like Trump has done. But maybe it does. But I think at least in the 20th century, we came back around to having more of a respectful and statesman, like process. And that has just kind of been thrown out the window more and more and more over the last several decades.
And I mean, as much as it, and this is going to make people hate me, as much as it pains me to say this, a lot of this actually started with Reagan, because he was one of the first guys that was able to put a zinger across on a campaign trail stage, and it stuck with him forever. The dude that when somebody was trying to shout him down, he's like, dude, zip it. I paid for this microphone. People still play that today. And that was one of the first times that people realized that that type of stuff grabs people's attention and it becomes a soundbite, and it never goes away. And that was one of the real first instances of that, other than like the Nixon thing where he's like, I'm not a crook, but I mean, it's just been this slow decline of now we've got people that get their news in 149 characters or less. They don't really pay any attention to any sources that they don't already agree with. And it's just because everything has become an echo chamber. And in that this is what happens when you have echo chambers. You have two completely insulated candidates who are basically doing nothing but hearing the things that they need to hear, that are now coming head-to-head with each other, and they're playing I'm Rubber, You're Glue on Twitter. It's disturbing. It's terrifying.
Right. And with these added, social mediums, it's just only going to increase and get worse, I fear, especially if the bar is set with this election the way that it has been already. So if people continue on with that in just even local races and, state races, and then obviously national races, then, this will be the new normal. And we all know how keyboard warriors are. It doesn't matter who you are. It's really easy to be big, tough, and mighty behind a keyboard. So it kind of makes sense that our politicians would resort to that because, they like to be little wily, slick little wily things. And they like to think that they're more influential and powerful and, clever and everything than they actually are. So hiding behind the screen and putting it out on Twitter actually provides them that perfect kind of, false sense of superiority and even machismo a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like from now, we used to have this saying of, trying to set the bar high. I think future election cycles are going to become limbo. I really just think it's going to kind of become one of those things of who can get under the bar when it's set the lowest, and that's going to be who gets our votes.
You may very well be right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm disillusioned, but it's just watching this. I mean, I can't say the actual words, but watching this Charlie Foxtrot unfold in front of me makes me just really want to just find a reset button and start 2016 all over again.
Well, speaking of things unfolding in front of us, what did you think about good old Obama not only endorsing Hillary, which was expected, but also doing it by this beautifully, this little beautiful put together video that he released to the public?
Speaking of video, just in case anybody hasn't seen it yet, you can't see it because it's radio, but I can let you hear it, and then we'll talk about it because I have a few things to say.
For more than a year now, across thousands of miles in all 50 states, tens of millions of Americans have made their voices heard. Today, I just want to add mine. I want to congratulate Hillary Clinton on making history as the presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States. Look, I know how hard this job can be. That's why I know Hillary will be so good at it. In fact, I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office.
Translation, I
She's
suck.
got the courage, the compassion, and the heart to get the job done. And I say that as somebody who had to debate her more than 20 times. Even after our own hard-fought campaign, in a testament to her character, she agreed to serve our country as Secretary of State. And from the decision we made in the Situation Room to get bin Laden, to our pursuit of diplomacy in capitals around the world, I have seen her judgment. I've seen her toughness. I've seen her commitment to our values up close. I've seen her determination to give every American a fair shot at opportunity, no matter how tough the fight was. That's what has always driven her, and it still does. So I want those of you who've been with me from the beginning of this incredible journey to be the first to know that I'm with her. I am fired up, and I cannot wait to get out there and campaign for Hillary. I also want to thank everybody who turned out to vote and who worked so hard for our candidates. This has been a hard-fought race. I know some say these primaries have somehow left the Democratic Party more divided. Well, they said that 8 years ago as well. But just like 8 years ago, there are millions of Americans, not just Democrats, who've cast their ballots for the very first time. And a lot of that is thanks to Senator Bernie Sanders, who has run an incredible campaign. I had a great meeting with him this week, and I thanked him for shining a spotlight on issues like economic inequality and the outsized influence of money in our politics, and bringing young people into the process. Embracing that message is going to help us win in November. But more importantly, it'll make the Democratic Party stronger, and it will make America stronger. Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders may have been rivals during this primary, but they're both patriots who love this country, and they share a vision for the America that we all believe in. An America that's hopeful, an America that's big-hearted, an America that is strong and fair and gives every child the same chance that we had. Those are the values that unite us as Democrats. Those are the values that make America great. Those are the values that are going to be tested in this election. And if we all come together in common effort, I'm convinced we won't just win in November. We'll build on the progress that we've made, and we will win a brighter future for this country that we love.
All right, so I know you guys listening right now, you can't see the video. I mean, you can go look it up. But my first question is, after you watch the video, ask yourself, is it just me, or did he look a little high?
That's like the first thing you said to me, like, is he high? What's going on here?
Okay, so I mean, we could spend probably about 3 shows tearing this video apart, because, he just... I mean, first of all, everybody knows why she took the Secretary of State job. It was a consolation prize when she didn't get the nomination the first time, and she took it in exchange for either in the 2012 or now 2016 cycle, if she was the one that got to the point where she was about to be the nominee, that he would endorse her and support her, etc., blah, blah, blah. So, whatever. You didn't do it because you thought she was the right person for the job. You did it because it was a political favor. And I guess the thing that pisses me off the most, and I can say that because this one's not going to terrestrial, the thing that pisses me off the most is the last little bit where he's like talking about all of the children's lives that they're going to make more fair. No. How many children have you aborted and allowed their pieces and parts to be sold off? And you're talking to me about making the lives of children better and more fair and equitable. Just go away.
Right. Well, also, he mentions several times things that I don't think, descriptives that I don't think people normally associate with Hillary, even those that like her. He was talking about courage, compassion, the heart, all of these things, the commitment to values, our values, sharing a vision for the America we love. And then he goes on a whole string of things, which is the most complimentary I've ever heard him be towards America at all. So it was kind of surprising. He just went on a little string of compliments that was kind of took me aback, and I went, whoa, I've never heard him give it like this. And he said a few things that kind of counter what their narrative is. He said, the new generation that will wake up to the same in an America that has the same opportunities that we were offered. They kind of act like that's not possible, actually. Like, it's all unfair and nobody gets opportunity because capitalistic America sucks, It was just really interesting, the words they chose. It just seemed like it was a bland write-up of, just kind of a typical endorsement that really had nothing personal to do with Clinton at all, because I don't think that he likes her, and I don't think that he believes that she is the best person for the job.
No, exactly. I mean, and that's exactly the way that it comes across is, I mean, you can tell, first of all, somebody wrote this for him. Second of all, you can tell he doesn't believe a word of anything that he just said. I mean, look, everybody can remember what he sounded like when he won the election. That may have been a speech that was written for him, and I'm talking about the first one. But you could tell that he believed what he was saying when he said it. You get none of that here. And it's just, he's doing it because he doesn't have a choice, because there can't be any way that a sitting Democratic president cannot give an endorsement to the presumptive Democratic nominee. It just can't happen. I mean, up until now, it's been kind of the de facto thing where pretty much like if the Speaker of the House was in that party of whoever the presumptive nominee was, they had to endorse them. Even Ryan tried to do it, and apparently now he's walking that back, at least a little bit. I don't know. The whole thing, it astounds me that we have gotten to the point where these people can blatantly tell you the God's honest truth about what it is that they're going to do if we put either one of them in the White House. And everybody's still like, well, I mean, the lefties are all like, dude, we got to vote for Hillary because Trump's nuts. And the righties are all like, we got to vote for Trump because Hillary's a murderer. The problem is you're both right. So what's going to happen if either one of them gets in there?
Right. Well, I did notice that he invoked the Bin Laden incident. So that was like, just trying, they're just going to continue to milk that. And I'm sure that'll take a prominent place in the general as she tries to fight off the Benghazi stuff. The Bin Laden stuff will be brought up. I did laugh, though, when he said, there hasn't, let me get it real quick. I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office. And I wanted to be like, I wanted him to lean towards the camera and say, except for me 8 years ago. Like, oh my goodness.
Actually,
like,
I was kind of surprised that he didn't say that, because that's why I kind of popped off like I did right after he said it, because he's like, I don't think there's ever been anyone more qualified to be in this office. Translation, if the guy that currently has the office says that the person that's running for the office now is more qualified than he is, that's even him admitting that he sucks.
Right.
Just saying.
Right. Oh, it was just funny. It cracked me up. And like, I half expected him to be like, oh, except for me, of course. Because he does stuff like that often. I also thought it was like, I don't know, it just kind of gave me the creeps when he's like, I'm with her. I hate that phrase anyways. I think it's so stupid. But him saying it just gave me the blah, blah, blah. And then of course he thinks Sanders, and Sanders, who is just basically getting patted on the head at this point and completely condescended. And the good things that he's brought about this, like, we haven't talked about money in politics. Like Obama himself didn't make actually a pretty successful effort of bringing young people in to the whole process. It was just a silly little way to like throw in a little pay of respects to Sanders without actually meaning to give him any respect. It was weird.
Yeah, actually, we've got to take a break here in a second, but when we come back, we have managed to sneak a microphone into the White House. We have some audio of that behind closed doors secret meeting between Trump and Sanders. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll be right back here in just a minute. We got to pay some bills. All right, you are listening to the Jenn and Rick Show. We'll be right back here in just a couple of minutes and finish out the show. Doesn't seem like it's already been a half hour.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get sad again.
For writers and public personalities, it's becoming increasingly important to have an online presence. This normally takes the form of a website and social media. However, things like a cluttered site or broken links can scare potential readers away. It's time to get a health check. Until the 30th of June, Black Wolf Editorial Services is offering a special website health check package. Get a new bio for your site. Have the site navigation and general layout assessed. Get a review of your Twitter activities. Get an objective opinion about your public Facebook page. Find out what works well and what could potentially scare your readers away. And all this for $35. At the end of the day, the face we put online will be the one that most people will see. Let us help you put your best foot forward. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For full details and a list of other services, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I'm proud as hell, I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is the Jen and Rick Show, and we, as promised when we went to break, I promised when we came back we had a secret never heard before inside the room coverage of the speech, or the conversation between President Barack Obama and Senator Bernie Sanders, who made a trip to the White House today. You heard Obama actually talk about it in the little clip we played earlier, but here's the part that nobody's talking about.
Assume the position.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
That's right. He got called into the White House, given a little verbal spanking, and said, okay, you did your bit, you didn't work, now get your butt in line and endorse the nominee, because if I have to do it, so do you. So that was probably pretty much how that conversation went.
Well, I mean, I thought it was I thought this meeting was kind of pointless. I mean, Sanders had already said he was staying through D.C., so that this really had nothing to do with whether he dropped out or not. But I guess there are crazier things that could happen. So it really seemed to just be a meeting to say, look, I'm going to endorse Hillary, even though you're still in the race and you have no chance because she's the nominee. But hey, bro, good try. And now you need to back everything up and support the nominee. I mean, I guess it was yesterday, I think it was Wednesday, when Press Secretary Jocelyn Ness was asked about, what Obama thought and if Sanders should now drop out and just relinquish it all to Hillary. He says, at this point, the president believes that Senator Sanders has more than earned the right to make his own decision about the right direction of his campaign. Earn the right to make his own decision? I mean, how is that not just completely and utterly condescending? Like, it's okay, I'll let him, as if he didn't have the right, but now he's earned it. And so Obama will stay out of it, or he won't be, completely lashed by the DNC. Like, what on earth? How? It made me go, whoa, how arrogant. And they're like, no, we'll let him keep going with his campaign. So it made it even more kind of laughable to me about this little meeting this morning.
It's interesting that you point out the arrogant tone of that statement, because I'd actually forgotten about that when they actually used the wording, we feel he's earned the right to make his own decision about his campaign. How exactly does one earn the right to make a decision about a campaign that they launched? I mean, shouldn't that have been their decision from the beginning? I don't know.
Right.
It's just,
that is kind of the Democrat way, a little bit of the group think there, of like, we will approve it for you. We will tell you what you can and can't do.
Well, to be fair,
which
it's not
Sanders
really
was
just
kind
the
of trying to
Democratic way anymore.
Well, and at this point, I guess you've just gone so far. So Sanders stays in because why not? And I mean, not his money, which is kind of the point of his campaign, is not anyone's money. Let's take other people's and give it to you. But so I guess like his main reason some stuff was released today. Like his main reason for staying in is to hopefully like help shape the convention and primary rules, which I can only assume means like dealing with superdelegates, because some of that stuff was so crazy early on, how he would win in a state, but she would get more delegates because of the supers. And then he's talking about influencing policy agenda, basically like maximizing his place in the party. So that does kind of go against what some people have said as like, oh, he's just a good guy who just wanted to run. He really believes what he believes. And, he really doesn't care about getting any further. But like his campaign actually said, like he wants to maximize his position or like his stake in the party. So that does kind of portend that maybe he wouldn't turn down a cabinet position or some other sort of, appointment.
So this begs the question, since you mentioned a cabinet position, what do you think would be a good cabinet position for Uncle Speedo?
Oh, good heavens, I don't know. I wouldn't put him in charge of anything.
Good answer, because that was kind of where I was at. I was like, what in the world would you put him in charge of? I mean, would you like make a new cabinet position, make him the...
Yeah, you give him some like honorary title where you could just be like, oh, see, this is for you. I guess you could like make him an ambassador or something. But I mean, she's known to kill those off, so I wouldn't take it so easily.
Especially if just don't take any postings to Libya.
I'm just saying that might be the way that Hillary. That was such a Freudian slip.
Whoopsie!
I said Hillary. I really did not plan that. Oh my gosh, people say that all the time. I've never even used it. That's funny.
Oh, that
might
is
be
the perfect time for a slip, though.
That was really funny. I took myself by surprise. Okay. Anyways, Hillary it is. Killing off Bernie by making him an ambassador.
So what do? You make him like the Secretary of White House Recycling? I mean, something.
Oh, yeah. Or just, you know what? Let's just make a committee for explore. I mean, we waste money on all sorts of things, but if we'll just keep him occupied for a few years, let's just make a committee for, exploring the, free education opportunities and what all that would entail. I don't know. Something stupid. Give him an intern.
I don't. I guess it's better than giving Bill an intern.
It certainly is, but I think he'll have as many as he wants. I think he does have as many as he wants.
There's a reason I call him the first man whore. It's just been a crazy, crazy week. So one of the things that we had talked about last week, but it took me forever to find the audio, and then Jess was nice enough to find it for us, and it still kind of goes along in with what we've been talking about, which is the dumpster fire that has now become a Twitter flame war. In pretty much the first time I think we can find any record of anything like this happening, we have actually had now not only a sitting, I believe it was a senator, walk back their statement about endorsing Trump. We now apparently have audio where Ryan not necessarily has walked back the endorsement, but apparently was talking all kinds of smack, which kind of makes it seem like maybe he doesn't really want to endorse him after all. So, got that queuing up right now.
I disavow these comments. I regret those comments that he made. I don't think claiming a person can't do the job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable. But do I believe that Hillary Clinton is the answer? No, I do not. Do I believe that Hillary Clinton is going to be the answer to solving these problems? I do not. I believe that we have more common ground on the policy issues of the day, and we have more likelihood of getting our policies enacted with him than we do with her. But I do absolutely disavow those comments. I think they're wrong. I don't think they're right-headed. And the thinking behind it is something I don't even personally relate to. But at the end of the day, this is about ideas. This is about moving our agenda forward, and that's why we're moving the way we're moving. I just fundamentally disagree with that. I think it's wrong. The way I look at this is, if you say something that's wrong, I think the mature and responsible thing is to acknowledge it was wrong.
Yeah, you just said mature and responsible when you're talking about Trump. Really?
No, he didn't. He said mature. He said mature in that, like, elitist, stupid, superficial way. Oh, that makes me annoyed with Ryan.
Okay, touche, but still, he used the word mature and responsible when speaking about Trump. Two things Donald Trump has never been known for: maturity or responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah, there's not a... The thing where he says, I completely disavow this. It's ridiculous. It's a racist comment. But you got to go with, we have to look at, all of that. We have to look at ideas. We have to, well, these are some of Trump's ideas. Some of Trump's ideas are actually racist, or at least, inappropriate in some way, or they manifest themselves in the way that he speaks about them in a what comes off as in a very racist way. So I don't think the comment was like said in a racist way. Like, it was a racist. He has absolutely been racist in the way that he has dealt with this judge. And it is the definition of it. So I don't like the but she's worse. I don't know. I don't know if she is.
Yeah, I had this conversation with Grouchy last night, and we didn't have it on air because it was his show. But when we were running the commercial break, because he's another one of those ones that is where I was 4 years ago and was like, look, Romney's still better, gotta pull the lever, may not agree with everything that he says. I'm like, look, dude, I understand why you're saying that you are not gonna make a hypocrite out of yourself and you're gonna go ahead and vote for the nominee. But when the nominee doesn't line up with 80% of the things that you know that this party should stand for, and there's only about 20% left, and you're still willing to vote for the guy? I said, I can't do that, man. I mean, at least with Romney, it was like 60-40. I mean, there was still a tipping point where I had more in common with him as far as his beliefs than I did with Obama. That's not here with Hillary or with him. I don't agree with pretty much anything any of them stand for. I don't understand when we finally get to the point where we say enough is enough, we're going to quit basically doing the Pavlovian response thing and run from one bell to the other and ring it because the other one didn't do what we thought it was going to do, and we actually finally decide to do something different. And no, I'm not saying pick up a gun or do some sort of revolution. I'm saying let's build an actual party that at this point represents the majority of Americans, because neither of the parties actually do that anymore, but we keep voting for them over and over and over again. And jackholes like this guy who just said, I don't like anything that he just said and it was completely racist, but I agree with a lot of his ideas. If he's a racist, I don't care what his ideas are. We shouldn't, even if there's a modicum of it there, it doesn't need to be anywhere in public office.
Well, and I think as far as Ryan goes, what he's mostly stated as being the reasoning for going with him as has been the Supreme Court. And, as someone who feels like that is one of the most significant and important things that we deal with, and the reason to vote, and wanting and one of the biggest reasons I would have loved to have a more constitutionally conservative candidate. I don't know that one reason is good enough when the candidate is so awful in so many other ways. But I do understand that holding your nose, but like you were saying, the whole Romney thing, or even McCain, did not. I think you hit the nail on the head with saying that, like, I still felt like I had way more in common with those people than I did with the opposer, which was, Obama, of course. Nothing about him did I agree with,
and just drop the O.
At least a lot of things about them I did.
You can just drop the O. We can call him a poser. It's basically what he is.
But, with Trump and Hillary, it's like, I don't agree with either one of you on pretty much anything. Like, I slightly agree with a few things that have been laid out in his policy for immigration reform, but that's not coming from Trump. That's from some policy writer and an advisor, which he is not. Which he's not going to listen to anyway. What?
He's not going to. That's the thing, because that's the same thing everybody keeps talking about. He's finally starting to get advice from people that know how things are supposed to be done, and blah blah blah. He's not going to listen. He's not going to listen to any of those people.
Nah, it won't matter.
He doesn't take advice. He's been the boss for forever. Trust me, I've been the guy at the top. After so long, and this is what I had to learn the hard way, and it's actually what has caused one of my businesses to fail. When you spend so long at the top, you start not really listening to anybody else's advice and start following your own. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, eventually things are going to fall apart. And this is exactly what has happened with Trump over and over and over and over again. You can look at his record. The simple fact of the matter is, if he took the money that he was originally given and his father's inheritance and actually invested it all, he would have more money today than he does with the business dealings that he's done, because so many of them have blown up in his face. So the fact that all of these people keep talking about what a great businessman he is, he's not a good businessman. He's a strong-arm guy. He goes in, gets what he wants, bullies people, bullies them, tears them down, builds them back up, tears them back down again until they finally give in and give him whatever he wants. Hell, he's tried to use eminent domain to take property from old people. And we're going to make this guy the president of the United States? I mean, seriously? When did we just become complete jackholes?
I don't know the exact answer to that, but it's been a long time coming, and now we are, having to kind of rue the day.
Oh, well, there's going to be lots of day ruin with either one of these folks. I mean, dude, either... I don't know. I mean,
so what I want to know is, a bunch of his supporters have been telling us that, he's so good on immigration, which is going to help all that. And let's forget the alt-right people. I'm just talking about in general, more decent-minded supporters that aren't crazy white nationalists. That there are a lot of people that identify with this idea of the wall and of, cracking down on immigration. A lot of us do, but acting as if he's going to protect it in a constitutional way, I don't want to go about things unconstitutionally. And so then you have something coming up like today when the Ninth Circuit Court, rules that basically that you can't conceal carry a handgun and say that personal safety is not a good enough cause for that. That's going to be something that's going to be going to the Supreme Court. Is this a guy who has gone back and forth on the gun issues so much? Is this a guy who would support that personal right? Or is he going to go and say all of his, word salad and then eventually support all of those liberal justices on that crazy court with whom he's friends? These are the bigger picture things that people are not thinking. A lot of these people that support Trump also very much support their right to bear arms. And they've been saying that he's so strong on it. He's so strong on it. But up until a few years ago, he was all for bans. So we've got a serious questioning happening here. The Supreme Court is probably for the first time going to be forced to answer the question about whether concealed carry is or is not constitutional, which is going to lead over into, Texas just made open carry legal. Many other states have it being legal. And we have no idea what our Republican president, who is Trump, will do or what kind of voice he will have in that fight. And that is frightening. A Republican president, we should know exactly where they stand on issues such as that.
No, and exactly. You actually sent me the link to this earlier, and I hadn't even really heard about it yet. I've been kind of reading over it here and there while we've been running the show, and it's just some of the language in it is incredible. There's this little bit in here that's like the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in a 7-4 ruling upheld a California requiring residents to show good cause for carrying a concealed handgun. Under the California law, personal safety alone does not qualify as good cause, which is defined by county sheriffs. The plaintiffs, the gun owners seeking licenses to carry their weapons concealed, said the policies in San Diego and Yolo counties where they live violated their Second Amendment rights. And the court responded with, "We hold that the Second Amendment does not preserve or protect a right of a member for the general public to carry concealed firearms in public." Are you kidding me?
Right. So essentially what they've done, so this went against, before this, in 2014, it was a panel decision, which means that there were 3 justices picked to kind of rule on this. Then it been brought back up and they went ahead and en banc, which is, for the whole bench. So, but in 2014, they upheld 2-1. They upheld the right to conceal carry for personal safety. What I want to know is, what on earth else would there be? What would be good cause or good reason for carrying a concealed handgun if it was not for personal safety? Basically what you're saying is that the average citizen is not going to be allowed regardless, which, for most of us, we think that goes directly against 2A.
No, exactly. And you know what my response, and this is going to be another one of those things where I'm like, hey, hate mail. All right, so you're telling me it's unconstitutional for me to carry it concealed? Fine, it's going right on my hip because the Second Amendment says I can carry it. Shut up. That would have been my response.
I mean, they essentially are saying, private citizens can't carry. And, I know that this does not even affect, a majority of gun owners because statistics show the majority of gun owners don't even try to conceal carry. But also, the best kinds of concealed carrying you won't even know unless you have to walk through a detector. But it's a scary thing, and the way the Supreme Court has been, what if this finally reaches them? They've turned it away 3 or 4 times in the last half a decade. It's come up for review more time in the last half a decade than it has in 20 years. And they continue to turn it away and push it aside. I don't know if that's because they just don't really want to get into it, if they're already know they're so split on that it would be. But who knows? Who knows what the reasoning is, or if they just haven't been strong enough cases. But it almost seems decided that they will be forced to take this case now that the same bench has ruled in two different ways. And the Ninth Circuit, we know, of course, is crazy influential and also uber liberal. So it'll be interesting to see, but it'd be nice to know and nice to have a candidate or a president that would actually support the Second Amendment. And unfortunately, with Trump as the GOP nominee, we don't even have that guarantee, if that tells you how lost this GOP is.
So I've spent the last couple of minutes going through the comments, and everybody's like pro-Trump, and then finally somebody says what I've been thinking the whole time I've been reading these. If we don't put Trump in the White House, no concealed carry for you. And the dudes, and one of the guys that finally said what I've been thinking while I've been reading these comments was, so you're hanging your hopes on Trump's list of potential Supreme Court justices that were actually hand-fed to him by the very establishment that he claims to despise and that he walked back on 24 hours later. It's just one of those things. Again, he's a chameleon. And I understand, like I said, I said this Tuesday, I understand that in his line of work, he has to be a chameleon because a salesman has to be able to adapt. They have to be able to walk into a room. They have to know who they're going to pitch. They have to know how to pitch, so they walk out with the deal. I understand all of that. But this is not a freaking sales pitch. This is the future of our damned country, and we're leaving it to a slimy, two-bit snake oil salesman who's managed to get lucky more often than he's not gotten lucky. And the fact that the person on the other side of the argument is no damn better and is practically, for all intents and purposes, a murderer and someone who has committed treason and given secrets to the enemy because she was too stupid to use a secure email server. Neither one of these people deserve to be where they are. They deserve to be in handcuffs. Both of them. Because he's been running scams for decades and gotten away with it. She has basically committed treason and murder. In one of the groups that we were in today, I kept seeing it over and over again that what everybody's now hoping at this point is that Trump gets the nomination and then at some point the GOP grows a spine, finds their sack and impeaches him. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I've seen that idea floated some too. And I mean, while I wish that could be the case, I just don't. We have a better chance of the GOP outing him at the convention for the sole purpose of that the nominee should represent the platform. And if the platform is written as such and Trump does not represent that platform, then he cannot be qualified to be the nominee because he does not represent the party. That's the only chance we have. And it's not going to happen because officially he toes the party line. It's only unofficially. And when you look at history and you look at his background, you look at the things he tweets and the ridiculous things that he says in interviews and the back and forth is where you see that he absolutely does not represent most of the party platform. But on paper, he does, and so that's not going to happen. If we get him into the White House, he'll never be impeached. Not by a Republican Congress, anyway.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I don't know where we go from here, but I know where we go for the moment because we're about out of time. So we got to make way to get out of here and get on with the rest of our lives before we all start glowing in the dark. So, like we do every Tuesday, Thursday night at the end of the show, why don't you go ahead and remind folks where they can interact with you should they choose to do so until we all start glowing in the dark.
Yes, you can find me, J.R. Homestead, on Facebook and Twitter, and come on over to misfitpolitics.weebly.com and read some of the smart stuff some of my fellow tweeps are writing for us.
All right, folks, and as usual, I'm the general manager around these parts, so if you don't like what we're doing out here, just shoot me an email. You can complain all you want. Doesn't mean I got to listen. You can also listen to me my show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The original show that started most of it was America Off the Rails, and it airs all over the place. I'll be on with you guys on WNJC out of Philadelphia tomorrow during drive time, and will not be live tomorrow night, but I will put together an episode tomorrow during the day, so it will be fresh content. I'll be actually attending a family function, so I will not be live tomorrow. we had planned on starting Finding Common Ground again on Saturday because we've had to take breaks because the co-host has had a lot of school-related stuff. He's getting things squared away for college. Apparently, he's not ready to come back yet, so I don't think we're starting up again until the 18th. But on that note, folks, we are out. I have got to make room for... Actually, there's not really anything coming on behind us, but you can listen to JD and Stacy again. And then, of course, Late Night in the Midlands will be up later this evening. So don't go away, and thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you when I see you.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
For writers and public personalities, it's becoming increasingly important to have an online presence. This normally takes the form of a website and social media. However, things like a cluttered site or broken links can scare potential readers away. It's time to get a health check. Until the 30th of June, Black Wolf Editorial Services is offering a special website health check package. Get a new bio for your site. Have the site navigation and general layout assessed. Get a review of your Twitter activities. Get an objective opinion about your public Facebook page. Find out what works well and what could potentially scare your readers away. And all this for $35. At the end of the day, the face we put online will be the one that most people will see. Let us help you put your best foot forward. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For full details and a list of other services, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.